Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Now I really hope that I don't get beat up for this. It's not very popular for YouTubers to be talking about this subject matter here on FluffTube, as some call it. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about it and tell you all in advance that everything that I may say is my opinion. Everything that I read, in my opinion, is opinion by the author who's presenting what they say are facts. But I think that it's important for us to understand what it says, because to me, what it says is that prior to the health crisis that occurred in 2020, the government was already contracting with companies in order for them to fulfill, well, we'll get to that when we get to that. Before we continue, I want to say to this person, Miss Laura, who posted on our last live stream, I'm angry at SIMPURE. They are never supposed to run out of filters, but the D5 pitcher has been out for a month. I contacted SIMPURE and they discontinued that D5 pitcher. So I apologize to anyone who purchased one and can no longer purchase those filters. However, Miss Laura, please go ahead and send me an email. Make sure that you put your name in the subject, Laura La Montanaro, all right, in all caps, and then put SIMPURE, because I have something to replace that pitcher that you purchased with SIMPURE at no cost to you. Please send me that email. I really hope that you see this video. Now let's get on with this story. Do your own research, ladies and gentlemen. This is a story that I am reading from a website known as SHTF Plan. So go ahead and do your own research, but we're going to go ahead and see what we can get out of this. The title reads, DOD issued contract for the health crisis research to a company in Ukraine 3 months before it existed. You understand what they're saying here? That 3 months before this health crisis thing existed, the government had issued contracts to some companies in Ukraine. Does this have anything to do with what's going on over there now and has been going on for the last year and a half or so or more? I'm not sure, but let's read on. Now, ladies and gentlemen, before I continue, I just want to go ahead and remind you what happens and has happened every time that we've had something major going on in the country, in the U.S. that is. Remember 9/11? What happened after that? They came out with a whole bunch worth of new laws that we had to adhere to in order to keep us safe. Well, after 23 years, actually, all of those laws are still in place. What does that mean? We've never been safe. We're never going to be safe again. Whenever the government grabs power, it will not relinquish that power unless we, the people, make it give us back those liberties that it took. And now take a look back the last few years, how much our world, especially our nation, has changed. And do you really think that none of this was planned? It's like I've said a while back, everything the government does is planned. It's planned not a day ahead of time. It's probably planned years ahead of time. It seems that they can always act very fast when it benefits them, the government, but not when it benefits us, the people. The world first started to hear about that health crisis in early January 2020. With reports of an alleged new sickness spreading across that big country that we know as China. However, the world did not actually know that it existed until February 2020, because it was not until the 11th of that month that the World Health Organization officially named that disease the C, and then followed by the 19. And ladies and gentlemen, I apologize, but I have to talk the way that I'm talking. Hopefully this video can stay up. So this being the official truth, why does the U.S. government data show that the U.S. Department of Defense awarded a contract on the 12th of November? The dates here are very important. Awarded a contract on the 12th of November 2019 to this company for health crisis research, at least 1 month before the alleged emergence of that health crisis, and 3 months before it was officially dubbed that actual name. They already had that name in the books before it actually officially to the public came out that it was a health crisis. The shocking findings, however, do not end there. The contract awarded in November 2019 for the health crisis research was not only instructed to take place in Ukraine, but it was also, in fact, part of a much larger contract for a biological threat reduction program in that same country. Perhaps this explains why these companies have been cooperating with each other since 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, I always leave the link to all the stories that I go over on a pinned comment. And here you want to take a look at this here that's highlighted in pink. If you see here, this is, I believe this is like the contract number. Here is the organization which received the contract. Very important that we see the date. 11/12/2019, November 12, 2019, in the amount of $369,511, SME, manuscript, documentation, and this type of research. Why? Why, when it did not exist until 2020? Why was there being research done all the way back then? Why was our tax dollars being used in order to research a disease, I guess you can call it, that never existed until after 2020 began? Here they continue by saying that the government of the United States has a website called USA Spending, an official open data source of federal spending information, which is where this came from. According to the site, as of 12 April 2021, the U.S. government has spent a mind-blowing $3.6 trillion in response to that health crisis that had, from what I understand, ladies and gentlemen, from what I understand, this is not fact that I've fact-checked, less than a 1% or less than a 2% mortality rate. 3.63 trillion of your dollars. Why is everything in your life more expensive than what it used to be? Because of 3.63 trillion. It's actually times 2 or 3 that amount, but this 3.63 trillion was just on this one thing. Here they say that hidden within the award search are details on a contract awarded by DoD to a company named Black and Viatech Special Projects Corp., which is alleged a global engineering, procurement, consulting, and construction company specializing in infrastructure development. The contract was awarded on September 20th of 2012 and is described as professional, scientific, and technical services. Obviously, this is very vague and most likely of little interest to anyone who happens to stumble across it. But there is something contained deep within the details that should be of interest to anyone and everyone. And they say that most of these transactions are extremely mundane and such for laboratory equipment, etc., etc. But there is one sub-award that stands out among the rest, and it is awarded to Labyrinth Global Health, Inc., and to SME Manuscript Documentation and the Research for the Health Crisis. An award for the health crisis research isn't exactly shocking when the world is allegedly in the grip of that health crisis, but considering the fact that the subcontract was awarded on the 12th of November of 2019, at least 1 month before the alleged emergence of the health crisis, and 3 months before it was officially dubbed that name, the award for that health crisis research should come as a shock to everyone. What are they saying? The same thing that we just talked about here a minute ago. That why is it that if this became a problem in 2020, they had already awarded contracts for this problem in 2019? What did they know that we, the public, didn't know? The contract details found on the USA spending site actually reveal that the specific DoD department that awarded the contract was the Defense of Threat Reduction Agency. The contract was awarded on the 20th of September 2012 and concluded on the 13th of October 2020. Man, ladies and gentlemen, those people that are like, AP, how can you say that they planned this? You better do some research and wake up to the fact that you need to get prepared. You need to get prepared because more of these things are going to happen the more that the government becomes desperate to stay alive. Government can only stay alive when they have full control of the people. Yes, government can stay alive forever when it follows the Constitution, at least here in the United States of America. But when it becomes more and more immoral, when it takes more and more of your wealth, when it takes more and more of your labor for you just to be able to survive and keep your head above water, then governments cannot continue to exist unless they have control over you, over we, the people. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, why did the Department of Defense pay a company that is alleged a global engineering, procurement, consulting, and construction company specializing in infrastructure development? Pretty much, why did they pay a construction company to help implement a biological threat reduction program in Ukraine? Why did the government do that with our money? Why did they do it, period? What the government does, ladies and gentlemen, is in our name. Right? What they do is in our name. Let me tell you a quick story that a friend of mine told me. This was years ago. I think I've told it before, but we've gained enough new community members. By the way, thank you very much for those of you that have recently subscribed. We've gained enough new community members that I can tell it again. A friend of mine told me that he went on vacation to Europe. This was years ago actually. You know, not even in the same decade. And he went with a friend of his. Now, his friend was from Canada. Right? And my friend was from here in the United States of America. He was in the military when he told me this. So they got, his friend got robbed. Right? I'm trying to remember the story right. His friend got robbed and a couple of guys grabbed his wallet. And as the guys were walking away, they looked inside his wallet and everything, and they walked back up to the guy, to his friend. And they said, "Are you from Canada?" And he said, "Yeah." And then they told him, "Oh, we're sorry. We thought you were American." And they gave him back his wallet with everything in it. What's the moral of the story is that those guys only attacked him because they thought he was American. Right? Meaning that when the government does things on our behalf without our consent, they are acting on our behalf. And the way that other countries look at us is not necessarily because we, the American people, are bad people, but because the government is taking it upon themselves to take your tax dollars and fund things that in a lot of ways may not be moral, ethical, legal, or even lawful. Anyways, I digress. And why did both they continue, the DOD and said company, then pay Labyrinth Global Health Inc. to carry out health crisis research in Ukraine at least 1 month before the alleged emergence of that disease came out, and 3 months before it was officially dubbed the actual name that it was given? Founded in 2017, Labyrinth Global Health is allegedly a woman-owned small business with deep expertise and proven track record supporting initiatives for scientific and medical advancement. They describe themselves as a multicultural and international organization with offices in 4 countries and a team of experts with diverse backgrounds and competencies, including microbiology, virology. You can read the rest of that stuff. One of those offices just happens to be located in Kiev, Ukraine. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is my opinion as to why this channel is not doing as well, analytically speaking, as it has in the past. Because I believe that these are things that are very important for us to talk about. We have to know these things. We at least have to be able to talk about them without being censored. I hope this video is not censored, and I hope that you go do a little bit of your own research. You know, even if it's just so that it can convince you that, hey, listen, we are being lied to from many different forces that want to have control over us. And at the minimum, we should be prepared. That way, when their next lie manifests into real life, we can at least be prepared to make it through. Even at the very least, if that's what you do, then I hope that you find these videos that I bring forward interesting, number one, but helpful, most importantly, so that you can wake up to the fact that you need to take care of your own, because nobody else is going to, not especially those that are against humanity and who, in my opinion, are just plain evil. Now, we're going to go ahead and end it at that. I want to thank you very much for joining in today. Tomorrow, I am planning to have a live stream at 4 p.m. Alaska time. So Sunday, tomorrow, what's today's date? The 12th. Sunday, tomorrow, the 13th, I'm planning on having a live stream at 4 p.m. Alaska time. And what is it? 8 p.m. Eastern time. So hope to see you all there. Other than that, God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out.